starts sooner than we think. Officially now QB3. We kick it around now that Pickett's been traded. Meanwhile, is Jalen Hurts being disrespected in the latest rankings? There's a video of Patrick Mahomes, who Jalen Hurts.
There it is.
There it is. Thank you. I just think you're talking about disrespect.
They just assumed when you bring up Jalen Hurts that you're going to say who he beat. You know,
I didn't know what it was. But right now we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, another great all-time quarterback. He joined friend of the show, Adam Shine, on Mad Dog Sports Radio. And Rodgers said he was indifferent, didn't really care about the Steelers being projected to have only 8.5 wins. Take a listen.
I don't really care about any of those prognostications there, Mr. Shine. Sometimes it's easier when there's low expectations and people are not talking about you. I feel like we came together as a group in Latrobe, and now can we put it together and then sustain it? Every team every year has periods of adversity that they have to overcome and kind of go through it, like the bison running toward the storm. You gotta kind of run to it and embrace it.
Danny, your reaction?
I'm ashamed to say I kind of missed hearing from Aaron Rodgers the last 4 to 6 weeks. The bison towards the storm.
Well, we fact-checked that. That actually is true, we found out.
Yeah, it's what they do.
Did you know that?
As of this morning, when I heard that with Adam Shine. Oh, you knew that before. Big bison guy.
I love the building.
Long-time, well-known bison guy. Yeah, he's just like a wonderfully weird brand of weirdness that when he's just talking about bison, I'm here for. And I'll say this. I don't know what world he's lived in where he says there's no expectations and that people aren't talking about him. They're the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's about to start his weekly appearances on one of the biggest shows in the world, and he is going to bring with him controversy and all that. A win total of 8.5 is not low.
It's not high.
It's a coach that has a winning record every year. Or
it's been 8.5 3 of the last 4 years in Pittsburgh. So there's not a tremendous amount of new expectation with him there, but they are 50-50 to make the playoffs in Vegas. That's not low. That's a middle-of-the-pack team. And what I would say is I like their over. I actually do think it makes sense to say that if Mike Tomlin can have a winning record with Mitch Trubisky and Duck Hodges and Justin Fields and on down the line, Kenny Pickett, we know the numbers, if you gave him league average offensive production, they'd be really good. Because we actually have the data to show that if Mike Tomlin just gets 21 points per game, 20 plus, they win 86% of the time. League average is scoring 23 points per game.
The problem is that they don't do it that often, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But so there's only going to be 17 games this year. So if Aaron Rodgers can score 23, 24 points per game with a defense that absolutely could be top 5 in the NFL, they can win 10 games, and as soon as Aaron Rodgers
scores, get some special teams.
Yeah, fine. But as soon as the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the way to winning 10 games with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback and Mike Tomlin as their coach, expectations will follow.
Oh, if they make the playoffs, people will convince themselves that they can go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That part I totally agree with.
And so as they start to win games.
But I don't think they're going. Listen, Brew is I'm curious because Brew
is a big reveal for him.
Brew is on a knife's edge and now has added information. I don't know if this has moved
good
you at all.
Info from my studying tonight, Danny. You hit it on the head. See, you're saying there are expectations.
Yes, of course
and there are. Certainly in Pittsburgh, we've heard teammates, Cam Hayward, say, okay, we got this guy. You know, some people have talked about how good he's looked. Others have said the opposite, but some have said how good he's looked in training camp and all that. So the pressure or the expectations are there. But Rodgers saying they aren't there, to me, that's what Rodgers loves. He wants there to be no expectations because the last 2 seasons he's played the full season, he played his best football when the expectations were gone. Green Bay is last year. People expect a good season. They start out badly. They're basically out of the playoffs. and then here comes Aaron Rodgers and the Packers playing well. Then the last game where they actually have a chance to win it, he doesn't play well, they lose. Same thing with the Jets last year. He played well toward the end of the season once everything, they were out of the playoff race and all that.
But do you really believe that Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl champion, 4-time MVP?
Yeah, because I've seen him struggle badly in all of his NFC championship games.
You think it's because of the pressure? Aaron Rodgers struggled because of the pressure.
I think it's gotten worse to where when his skills have diminished now, I don't think he wants the pressure. That's why I actually liked him with the Jets initially, because he went there talking everything up. Super Bowl trophy looks lonely. He put the pressure on himself, and then we saw what happened. So I think he realized he can't sit here and think there's no pressure, because all of Pittsburgh is expecting him to do something with this team for the reasons you said. And I've said it. They win 10 games with Justin Fields. They can't win 12 or even 11 with Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on, I'm interested in what you disagreed with him about. You think Aaron Rodgers is a big game quarterback?
I think that, listen, you and I have talked about that NFC Championship game against Seattle. That one was on Mike McCarthy. Stop kicking field goals inside the 5-yard line.
Okay, that's
fine. Kicking field goals inside the 5-yard line, cover a spread.
That's fine. Yes, we can. And the NFC Championship game against Atlanta, they were down 21-0 when he had touched the ball barely at all. I understand that piece of it. I also understand that it does, where I agree with Brew, is Aaron Rodgers, when things are going well, feels like, is that the best quarterback I've ever seen? You know what I mean? And has put up numbers that are, support that. And Aaron Rodgers, when there is a touch of adversity, this is not across the board, obviously. I'm not acting like the Dak's first playoff game ever, 2016. That was a back-and-forth game. He's on the road. He was great. He's an all-time great player. But I don't look at him. There's playoff risers. There's playoff stay the same, and there's playoff, droppers to varying degrees. To me, he is closer to a playoff dropper than a playoff riser, and I think the numbers back that up. And I think Brew's point that it is he has tended to, as of late, play his best ball when there is not a belief that the games matter as much as they did before. Like, I do think that's a thing, at least for older Aaron Rodgers, than the opposite.
Well, I think he's playing, at this point in his career, at least if you believe what he says, and I don't often, but he seems to be playing with house money. I'm playing for the love of the game. I just want to end my career playing for a great franchise, doing all of the right things. We would agree that the Steelers are more stable than the Jets.
Yes, of course.
They have a better defense than the Jets. Yeah. They're better coached than the Jets. Everyone is convinced that this offense is going to be bad. Yeah. DK Metcalf is excellent. They added Jonnu Smith to go with Pat Freiermuth. That's 15 touchdowns combined last year from the tight end spot. I would think for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, having 2 tight ends to help block would be good, who also can catch the ball. Jaylen Warren, I thought he was better than Najee Harris, and then they drafted the kid Caleb Johnson, who's a very talented running back who's had a good preseason. Their running game should be better. Their tight end production should be better. Their wide receiver 1 production should be at least the same.
Yeah, I don't know if their quarterback play is going to be better, though. I don't know.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers is better than Justin Fields?
He wasn't better than Zach Wilson. We did this last year. All we need to do is be better than Zach Wilson, and it didn't, and we didn't get it.
So that's.
But everything else about the Steelers is better than everything else about the Jets.
Hold on. I don't know that
Jets defense.
I was going to say the Jets. What we thought about the Jets defense going into last year and their coaching. Saleh is not Tomlin, but we all respected Saleh's defensive acumen and the defensive talent. I think that to answer your question, I don't think the Steelers are going to have a good offense. I don't. I think that the reason their win total is at 8.5 and they're a coin flip to make the playoffs, when we all agree they have a playoff caliber coach, they have a playoff caliber defense, is because they might not, and I think they don't, have a playoff caliber offense. I think Rodgers is answering the question about the expectations in a very interesting way, and you're right. When Rodgers is talking sports or about unimportant things, it can be a fun listen. When he talks about real life stuff, it can be grating. I think it's hard for him to recognize, wait a minute, why are the expectations low? Like, nobody doubts Tomlin, nobody's doubting the defense, and the expectations are low. It's because people think he's washed. And there is Overwhelming evidence he is. Like, at least to my eye. I think that he is. Is he better than Justin Fields?
Yes.
Sure. Is he going? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to have better quarterback play over 17 games this year than they had last year? I don't know that. I don't know that they are. And so
I'd say that's a pretty comfortable bet, yes, that they did.
Well, then they should make the playoffs.
Correct.
Again. Right, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers thrown for 300 yards once in his last 4